Disaster payments worth up to $1,000 per adult will be available from tomorrow. Anthony Albanese will soon visit flood-affected regions in New South Wales to assess the damage. Political reporter Henry Bello joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Henry, g'day. So who can apply for these disaster payments?
Hi Joe, so this money is available to anybody who's been impacted by the floods in those 23 local government areas that have been declared a disaster zone by the New South Wales government. So for an individual adult, it's up to $1,000 that they can get. For a child, it's $400. So for a family, it's a pretty substantial amount of money and it goes directly to them. It's a cash payment. So that means they're able to spend it on what they believe is most appropriate and necessary for them given their own circumstances and their own interaction with this floodwater that you can see there. So that could be food, it could be temporary housing, it could also be clothing for themselves and their family. The Prime Minister saying that this is in addition to some of the funding that was announced yesterday by the New South Wales State Government and the Federal Government. That's something that's triggered automatically when a disaster zone is declared. That's money that goes towards businesses or local councils in trying to assist the actual recovery. We heard from the Prime Minister a short time ago. He was giving an update as well on the ADF support for the region. He said that 350 ADF personnel were available and also that a third ADF helicopter would be available from tonight, and that can particularly work overnight in search and rescue if necessary, or also just providing support to the local community. Let's have a little bit of a listen to how the Prime Minister outlined that support earlier.
It will be $1,000 per eligible adult, $400 per eligible child. It's available for people who live in the 23 LGAs who have suffered a significant loss as a direct result of the floods, including a severely damaged or destroyed home or a serious injury. And this is, I believe, the quickest that these payments have ever been approved. This is on top of the joint arrangements that are being made available through New South Wales and the Commonwealth.
And we just want to be as practical as possible in this emergency situation for people who've been affected by flooding, and they want to know how they can get their hands on this money that's being offered. Anthony Albanese said in that media conference as you go through Services Australia, or I think they are in the process of setting up a 1300 number. Have we got that number yet, Henry?
Not as far as I know, but it's also worth saying that applications are available from 2 p.m. tomorrow. We heard Prime Minister there saying that this is the fastest that he believes it's been set up, but it doesn't mean that actually that money is going to land in people's bank accounts at 2 p.m. tomorrow. They need to apply for it. There is still this service. You have to go online to actually apply for it, and it could be some time until it actually lands in people's accounts. So if this money is needed, that's certainly something you want to be getting on top of, getting that application in as soon as possible.
Okay, and separately, if people want to access money through the state government, there's some state services that have been offered as well, and that number at Services New South Wales is 1377.88. Okay, now on a separate issue, there's been this ongoing discussion around the possibility of a fourth vaccine injection for Australians to protect them against COVID. Where's that at now, Henry?
Yeah, so it's interesting. At the moment, a fourth dose is available to a small cohort of Australians, so people aged over 65 or people who have severe underlying health conditions. There is some lobbying going on from states to try and broaden that eligibility so more people can have a fourth dose. And part of that is due to concerns about waning immunity over time. And we've seen rising case numbers across the country with new strains. And also, of course, this combining with the fact that we're in winter and a flu season that's been much worse than we've had in previous years. We heard from the New South Wales State Health Minister yesterday, Brad Hazzard, saying that he would like eligibility for a fourth dose to be expanded to try and get on top of those case numbers. Also, the Victorian Premier Dan Andrews, well, he was saying that he would like a fourth dose to be available for health workers, for doctors, for nurses, for people on the front line. Now, the nation's vaccine advisory body, ATAGI, is meeting today to consider that. They'll be going going through the data. They're an independent organisation. They have been considering this in previous weeks. We expect them to make some sort of decision either way today and let us know if that eligibility is broadened out. One of the options that is available that had been foreshadowed by the Health Minister, Mark Butler, was not that it would be available to everybody immediately, but that age threshold may be reduced from 65 to perhaps 50 or 55, as we've seen in previous vaccine rollouts. The Prime Minister, though, was asked about that today. He said that he was supportive of this happening, and it's really a matter of when, not if.
My view is that we will inevitably follow what has occurred in other parts of the world and rolled out a further booster shot, because we know that over time people's immunity decreases as the distance from when they've received their last shot occurs. So ATAGI, no doubt, will look at the evidence which is there.
So ATAGI meeting today to discuss this, as Prime Minister said there. We can expect some announcement either way early this afternoon, Joe.